Shelby, you got anything to say?
Oh yeah. Shout out to Jeff for joining us today. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, no problem. It's an
Uh,
honor to be here.
yeah, actually, I think Jeff is the third guest. He would be the fifth guest of the podcast.
Oh, you count Walt as a guest? Okay.
I mean, Walt's been on more than anybody else, but he's still
Dang.
only
So
been.
your best friend, you gonna make him as your fifth guest?
Oh my god.
We can have a whole
Oh
podcast
my
just on
God.
that. Like,
Oh my god.
what? We've been best friends for how long, CJ? I'm your fifth choice.
No, it's not that you are my fifth choice, Jeff. That's not
I'm
it
your
at
fifth
all.
choice.
No, that's not it. That's not it
Shelby,
whatsoever.
we got issues. You don't like me, man?
Oh, I think you're great.
That's not it at
Okay,
all,
so
Jeff.
it must be CJ.
It's
Must be CJ.
it's not
For
it.
the same reason we didn't meet for so long. It's the same reason you ain't been on. No, I'm just...
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of.
A fan's perspective.
And today, guys, we are joined by one of my best friends, Mr. Jeffrey Morris. Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm good. Still wondering why I'm the fifth guest, but I appreciate you having me on here.
Guys, we trust me. We saved the best for last. We gotta join us today.
No, I'm not the fifth.
Joining us today, we got a New York Times best-selling author. Joining us on the podcast.
Yo, you just coming up with lies. What?
Look, man, I'm trying to get the subscriber count out. Okay, I'm trying to do some things out here. No, Jeffrey Morris, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing today?
How you doing, Jeff? How are you doing today, man?
I'm good, man.
Good. Today, folks, we brought Jeff on because he and I are currently in the midst of playing the most talked about game of 2020 so far. It's been a game that people have been waiting on for almost a decade. 7 years in my case, and in Jeff's case, he didn't even play the first one. He just watched it, and he watched it, and then he watched me play a little bit of it, and he was like, "Oh, I'm getting this," and now he's addicted. So we are obviously talking about The Last of Us Part 2 today, but there's a caveat. I haven't beaten it. Jeff hasn't beaten it, and
I haven't played it.
So we will not be able to talk about some of the major spoilers beyond, I'd say, the first or second one that happens in this game. But for a lot of people, this game was spoiled before it even came out. So there's a lot of history involving The Last of Us that we're going to kind of delve into.
Yep.
But first, I want to ask you, Jeff, how do you like the game so far? As far as like just as a video game, how do you like it?
I love it. I am not really into like horror games and stuff like that. I don't like being scared. So I was like,
I understand, brother.
Like I've played some VR games and been in like zombie situations and stuff like that, and got kicked out of places because I like scream too loud and stuff like that. But like this game has like the right amount of scare, right amount of like thrill to it, and the storytelling I believe is like amazing. I've actually never been like excited about it. I haven't been excited about a game like this in like a long time, and I just watched like the first part over a month ago, and as soon as I was done with that, and then as you said, CJ, like watch you play that little piece, I was like, I gotta get this. Like I see now where the hype is, because at first I was like, Last of Us, I understand, like,
right, it was a big deal at some point.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, and it was like, I'm good on it, I can wait. And then I watched it, I was like, wow, the story is good to me. Like, I think they did a really awesome job with this.
Yeah, and that's part. The story of the first Last of Us is part of the reason why this game is so controversial. I would at least.
I would say it was the reason it was so sought after.
That too.
'Cause
That too.
it was like one of PlayStation's highest selling games upon release or something. It did very well. Is the point. And so I would say definitely, it's standing on the legs of the first Last of Us, obviously.
Right.
As someone that tried to play the first The Last of Us, I will say that I do think there's a great story there, and I think I figured out today why I couldn't make it through the first one.
Okay. What's your reasoning?
So I am just not a big fan of the gameplay.
Which is interesting because I actually like the gameplay a lot. So,
and I understand that because I was going to explain how it is similar to Uncharted and similar to Tomb Raider, right?
Right.
But for me personally, The Last of Us suffers from a couple of things that I just don't like in games. And with Uncharted 4, for example, what was it? A Thief's
End.
A Thieves, yeah.
Yeah, Thieves End, right?
Yep.
It's part adventure piece too, right? It's part like puzzle game / you're going from environment to beautiful environment. You're seeing these amazing things, and then there's the gameplay with it as well. Like you said, there's an amazing story in Uncharted as well as The Last of Us. But with The Last of Us, what I noticed was a lot of the scenery is the same, and it's because of the setting of the world. And I think without having a driving force outside of, hey, no, we're going to get to this amazing story. We just got to go through a couple subways real quick, where you got to sneak around, survive some clickers, use a brick, versus like I even said with Tomb Raider, where even it's puzzles involved. It's an amazing set pieces, which I know there are amazing set pieces in The Last of Us, but I think without there being a secondary driving force for me to play it, it just isn't my normal type of gameplay.
And I can completely understand that, because another thing about it that makes it different than Tomb Raider or Uncharted is that because it's at its core a survival horror game, it's about surviving and having enough ammo to actually fight and play. And that is not the case in The Last of Us. You have to be very careful with the amount of ammo you use, because you're just not going to have. You can't carry a ton of ammo with you. In Uncharted, I'd say I never really ran out of ammo for my guns. I was always able to find ammo that I needed, and you were always fighting a bunch of people that had high-powered weapons. So as soon as you beat one of them, you can pick up another one and go to work.
Yeah, you could just steal it from them and keep moving. And so, I thought that was interesting. So my first question for the two of you, because you are currently playing the game, working your way through it, how do you feel about the gameplay? Do you think it's fun, exciting? Are you liking that it is very much scavenger based? Hold on, we're gonna start with our guest first. I see you winding up the face.
Yeah. We'll let Jeff go.
So it's funny that you said that every scene is the same, and I noticed that actually my fiance Kendall, she was watching me play, because I literally kind of have to have her near me to play it in certain scenes.
Shout outs to Kendall.
Yeah. And I think that adds to the game. Because of the type of game that it is, that you are living literally in the last days of the human race. And everywhere looks the same. So at every point in time in the game, somebody could just kill you, or just an infected could just come out and jump at you. I think that adds to the scare factors that they have in the game.
Gotcha.
So I like that part of it. I think the combat, I do see what you mean in terms of some of the combat is very similar to Uncharted, which is why I like it, because I did like the combat in Uncharted. The gun handling is amazing for the type of game that it is. I think they did an awesome job in terms of recoil and when you shoot the bow and arrow, it feels like a real bow and arrow. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I did hear a lot of praise about the realism and kind of the design of the game itself. So I completely understand that. I think Naughty Dog didn't make. Yeah, Naughty Dog does a good job with. Is it Naughty Dog?
Yeah,
You
it's
look like
Naughty
you're.
Dog. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Naughty
Your
Naughty
Dog.
face
Dog.
was
Yep.
throwing me off. Uh,
Sorry.
he looked like he was going to say yes, and then he looked confused. But Naughty Dog does, I would say, with each chapter of their games, they definitely do a good job of advancing in something. CJ, what about you? How do you feel about it?
So I definitely agree with Jeff as far as like the gameplay component goes. The way that the guns and other weapons handle is, in my opinion, almost more accurate than any other third person shooter I've played recently. Like I remember, for example, just for a simple comparison, because they're both on the PS4 with Horizon Zero Dawn. I remember when I would shoot the bow and arrow. For the most part, it felt like I was shooting a bow and arrow, but like I was doing some major damage that I don't think a bow and arrow should really have been able to do to some of these machines.
Okay.
I will
I
stand.
thought you
I
was
will
gonna
stand
say
by
the
that.
humans.
No. I'm talking about basically
I was
using
like,
a bow
no,
and
they
arrow.
won a few wars with
No,
that.
you're right. No, I'm talking about using a bow and arrow to take out like not a stalker, but the ones that had the cameras.
The Seekers.
The Seekers. How you could like knock them out with one pinpoint shot, and
I
like
got you.
I don't necessarily think that an arrow might be fully capable of that in reality, but in this game, the arrows they do what they're designed to do. Like you're basically fighting nothing but humans and zombie like humans. So
Yeah.
that's one big part of it, but also just the way that guns are done in this game. It's not as simple as just pointing and shooting. Your aim's got to be there.
Exactly. Aim has got to be there.
If
You feel the shake. You're
Yeah.
shaking as you shoot. It's like, man,
Yeah.
if I miss this, that's it.
Like there have been times where I've been cornered by a human and I'm straight up like I throw a brick at him, take out my gun, thinking that it's going to give me an accurate shot, and I miss completely.
Okay.
And that's something that I really appreciate, just because it's such a accurate feeling. And then as you're doing the upgrades, because you can steadily go through and upgrade your guns in this game, you end up you can like help the handle, you can help the fire rate, and you can definitely see where things improve when you
have
fix
not
the stability.
seen that as much.
I would say the stability at least is a little bit better on my Magnum and my shotgun since I've upgraded them. It just depends on after the firing, I guess.
So since we're talking about gameplay, because I have actually, Jeff didn't know this. I looked up a few reviews about The Last of Us Part 2 because I don't know if you know, Jeff, it had some major controversy a couple months ago.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what besides the spoilers, I don't know what else.
Yeah. So my question for you guys, next question is, what do you think of the AI of the game? A few people, and I'm not going to say too much, it was definitely promoted as it was going to have a super kind of advanced AI for the enemies. And a few people are saying that is not the case. What do you guys feel about that?
So I say it depends, because for the infected, the AI is top notch. I would say the infected are
In like comparison to what?
so like
They're humans.
So in comparison, compared to like how the human AI works. Because here's an example. I'm playing it on moderate, so that might also be a part of it. Like your difficulty settings might influence how the AI operates. But with the infected, with the infected, I've been in a situation where I've gotten swarmed by them multiple times, and the way that they swarm you, they come from you at different angles. They don't just straight up go up and attack you. You will think you're okay in one direction, then you turn around and they're right there. And it also sometimes it depends on the breed of infected, but they really mess with you. But then with the human AI is good, but I will definitely say there have been a couple of times where I'm like, okay, I should be dead by now. Because there are a few times where like when it comes to stealth games, if I want to try to eliminate everyone and not get into a firefight if I can. Just because with this game, it's just not possible.
See me, I'm sneaking by everybody. I'm not trying to fight nobody.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. I'm trying to eliminate them as I go. But there have been times where I'll wrap up with this. There have been times where like I've tried to die quickly enough to like restart things, and what ends up happening is I'm standing up looking directly at a human, and they aren't firing at me for some reason. It's like they're holding off. And they're waiting to give me a chance to kill them instead. But again, that might be because of difficulty.
Yeah, some of that is done. And so I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, like everything on the hardest difficulty, the survivor difficulty. And the human AI, yeah, there have definitely been moments where like I've killed somebody, they've seen me, and I just stay in the exact same spot. And then after a couple of minutes, they're like, okay, where'd he go? Where'd she go? Like, it's like, I didn't go anywhere. Like, I have that move.
Okay.
And, like, you know, they go back and do their little path thing. I will say, yeah, the infected, there have been a lot of times, the infected has killed me more than the humans. Because, like, I think they do an awesome job of, like, diverting your attention on one group of infected. And then make you forget, like, the clickers, I think their AI is awesome. Because, like, the runners really have this good tactic of, like, running, I mean, just what they are, like running after you. Like it's literally like they knew how to set up the pawns to where you would like have to take those pawns and then forget about the queen or the knight that comes around the corner and like, you know, checkmate you can't. Like I really feel like reference. They did. I mean, I'm not a chess player. I mean,
but that was I like that. I like that.
Like I really do feel like they put a lot of effort there. I will say though, there's definitely been since it is an AI, there's always some type of pattern, and it's very easy to dodge their attacks. Like you just got to do it a couple times, and you'll figure out exactly like, okay, what's the amount of L1s I need to do, or like at what points do I need to press L1 to figure it out. There have been some times where I've been caught, but like it's pretty easy now for me to like dodge them and then kill.
Okay. Interesting. So one of the things in the marketing. And maybe it was overhyped, maybe it wasn't. They really hyped up how the human AI was going to kind of be, or the enemy AI, through trailers and just general discussions about the game. And so I know one of the things that's giving it backlash right now is like pretty much compared to what happened in a trailer. People were like, this is not the case. And so I know there was a little backlash about that, but it is good to hear that. Because, and for me, I mean, I get that the humans are the monsters. You know, you see how bad it is and how bad humanity gets throughout the game. But it is good to see that the monsters of the actual game do kind of shine more so. And if that's what I'm hearing from you guys, like the clickers and the runners and what do you call the silencer guys? CJ?
The stalkers.
The stalkers.
My God. I just played the stalker level today where they first introduced, and they are designed where so The Last of Us, on at least most difficulties I know about survival, you have this ability to, like, it's called it's enhanced hearing. You can kind of see through walls by doing this. Like, you can hear where the different infected are, and you can't hear the stalkers. They're silent for the most part. They might make a couple of sounds here or there, and eventually they will attack you. And as I was going through this level, I'm just like, where are these stinking things? I don't know where they are, and I had to use different tactics to try to get away from it.
Good, because I was just saying, like, the monsters, the clickers, the stalkers, the runners, you're going to remember them more so than the random background guy you shot, in the head with an arrow. Like, unless they're important to the story.
Actually, I think we do need to give the human AI a little more credit. Mm-hmm. Like, something as simple as, well, I think there's two things we're missing. Like, one, I think there's the actual, like, battle between the human AI and the clicker and, like, the infected. Like, that, okay. I think that that AI combination is incredible. Mm-hmm. Like I was just telling CJ the other day, like it just felt so satisfying to be. There's a way. Are we? How much information
we can go ahead and go as much info. I guess.
Yeah, we typically give spoilers on everything we talk about. Yeah. So feel free, as long as it's like to the midway point, or like it's not past where CJ is.
Yeah, this is CJ knows what part.
Yeah, I know what
I'm
part he's talking about.
So like, there's a part where after you go to TV station, you end up going to these tunnels. Because you're getting chased by the WLF, wolves, human faction, and essentially they chase you down to these tunnels. But in these tunnels are like the clickers, and it's so they're like, "What the heck are like we doing trying to chase you down here?" And the way I kind of set it up is like I literally kind of led them into the room, and it looked like they really had no idea like I was leading them into the room with the clickers.
Mm-hmm.
I just waited it out, and next thing you know, the clickers just like ran outside, ran past me because I'm being silent as you're supposed to, and literally like took out the. They didn't take out all of them, but it took out most of the human AI.
Yeah,
and
it was
then,
a good character interaction.
Yeah, and then one of the human AI lived and like ran into the same room that I was at, and just was kind of waiting because like they're trying to like avoid getting killed by the clickers, but they completely like forgot about it. It felt like a realistic situation. I just came up behind him and killed him, and then killed the rest of the clickers.
And then another thing I'll actually give the human AI credit for, and this is something that also happened in Uncharted, so it's something that they did at least develop. There is a big difference between when you are trying to kill them in stalking, like in stealth mode, versus like when you are in the middle of a firefight. Because when you are in the middle of a firefight, and like let's say that you get caught, and then the AI actually is doing what it was designed to do and doesn't have a stupid glitch or something like that, I have felt overwhelmed by the human AI if I've gotten into a fight. Like there's this one level called Hillcrest where you are going into like this suburb, this like I'd say middle class town area of Seattle, and when you're there, you're basically trying to find another character, and you end up running into a bunch of WLF people. And when you are fighting them, while you're in stealth mode and you're killing them and you're going about stuff like that, they'll say like, "Oh my God, they killed this person," and then their path might change, which is nice. But then if they see you, it is like a bombardment. The dogs are.
We haven't even talked about the dogs.
The dogs might be the scariest part of the whole game. Like,
so I was gonna circle to that. But okay, all right. So that's interesting. Now, CJ, in response to that, do you feel like when you're under that bombardment, is it realistic? Meaning, are they having perfect shots all the time? Type deal? Because I personally hate that.
I would say they are missing sometimes because I'm running kind of all over the place. I'm never really standing in one place when it's in that situation. I
believe you.
I'm dipping. But there have been a couple of times where
he said he dipping.
I could imagine if it had two player, Jeff be like, "CJ, you got my 6?" My man, CJ gone. CJ did.
This is why this could never happen in real life.
I thought we was dipping.
I thought we were leaving. But
I really hope this never happened in real life.
There have definitely been times where they did get some shots off where I'm like, you're using a pistol. How are you this accurate? But there are other times where it makes sense. And again, I haven't really died from bullets though. I've been injured by them. What's killed me has been the dogs.
Okay. So
I think that's the level. I think that's level because on survival they miss like the accuracy. I think on the computer's end is great. If you run directly at them, they will hit you. Like there's just, I think the AI is just configured to like whatever random number generator got. Like you will get hit if you run directly at them. But if you sway side to side, or I guess you run around like CJ does, like. They don't hit you all the time, but I've died a lot by bullets. Not because like they're accurate. It's just not because they're super accurate. It's just the way that they bombard you, like
Yeah.
they come at you at all sides. Like I
Yeah,
usually end up-
that is also true.
And see, I was gonna say I don't have a problem with that in games. Like if you're overrun, you're overrun. Like you're gonna get shot, you're gonna get killed. I don't even care if bullets do, a lot more damage. I just hate in games, and I think this was maybe in Tomb Raider because I didn't even make it through the second Tomb Raider all the way, where it's just like everybody has a perfect shot.
Yeah.
Like I'm like okay, it's realistic. I got shot, and I lost a lot of health. Like, that makes sense to me. But my man shoot me 300 yards away every time I try and go right, I die. I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah, no,
This ain't no Call of Duty quick scope type deal. Like they, there's some realistic.
And like I said, like Jeff said, if you're moving around, the guns will miss you. They will miss.
Even if you're up close, they'll miss, depending on the gun that they use.
Yeah, you're right.
Like it feels like because like they know that you can melee them. It's like they know that you can melee them, so they're like shake a little bit. This is obviously my interpretation of it, but it feels like I'm in an actual like.
And I'll give them credit because the AI. Because I remember for the original Last of Us, they said that the AI was smarter than anything they had designed. But I also vividly remember just knocking out dudes that were just bum rushing me with a shotgun. Like I remember that the AI just said, "Screw it, we're just going to attack with a machete," and I'm like, "Well, I got a stronger weapon. Boom, we're done." That hasn't happened as much with me with the AI currently. It's mainly they haven't been as aggressive as they probably should be, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I think for me, okay, sorry, I know we keep talking about that.
No, go ahead. Feel free.
So I'm a computer science guy. So like to see, I think what really just gets me about the AI is that there are little small things there that just really are smooth. So, for example, I was like up under a truck, and the guy like instead of just looking down there and then shooting me, and you wondering like how the bullet like came through the truck and hit me, he picked me up, like pulled me out the truck,
pulled you.
and then, I haven't seen that in a lot of games. Like that adds to the thrill of the whole game, right? Like it wasn't just an automatic. Okay, I lost health. No, I had a chance to fight for my life. Like it's these small little things that they really like. It's these small little human interactions that happens in like movies and stuff like that, or even like day to day.
The attention to detail.
Yeah, and they got. I think they got that right for the most part.
No, I will give them praise for that. Definitely from what I've seen from the game, the attention to detail is amazing. Like you guys are describing, just little things can alter other little things, and that's always good to see to provide realism for the experience, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be immersed in this world and then I don't know. You just walk through a door or something that like takes you out the game.
Yeah, and I will also definitely say that the AI does have paths, but they don't seem as fixed as other games that I've played in the past.
Okay.
There have been, and maybe that's because I killed them before they get through. They start recycling the path, but there have been a couple of times where it's like I don't know where these people are going. And
all right.
I gotta figure that out.
That leads me to kind of my next, I don't want to say segment. This is kind of talking about the story as well as a particular portion of the game. Well, not portion of the game, a part of the game. And I want to get your guys' opinions about it. What do you feel about it? So what do you guys feel about the gratuity in The Last of Us 2?
The violence?
Do you feel like it is a little too much? Do you feel like it's just enough? CJ, I know you aren't as far as Jeff. I've heard some things, and I want to get some opinions because I'm sure I'm going to watch it. And I know there's one thing in particular that will upset us both. So I'm curious to know, do you guys, from what you've seen so far, do you feel like it's over the top? I know there are some mixed opinions about it currently, especially, once you've been able to digest it and play the game all the way through. But starting off with Jeff, sir, because you're a little further, what do you think?
So I think over the top of like a Quentin Tarantino movie, like that's over the top, and I don't see this being that. Like I feel like this is the right amount. Now there is violence, like there is some very gory like elements, but I think again that adds to the whole story because it's like Ellie is this character of vengeance now. She has literally let vengeance consume her,
Yeah.
and with vengeance comes violence. Like that's essentially like what this game is showing. Is her transition into more violence. So I think what you see is like just a necessary part of the story.
Okay.
In my opinion.
CJ?
I will say that there's definitely violence. There's no denying that. This game is easily one of the more gory games that I've played. I would say it's more gory than God of War. And by God of War, I mean the PS4 version, not the PS3 version. I'd say the PS3 version is more gory than this is, but that's due to different.
That's more like cartoon violence.
Yeah, that's what I'm
see,
saying.
But see, okay, in my opinion, I think God of War is on the has over top violence.
Which one? The old ones or the new one?
The old ones.
Yeah, it does. That like it just does. It's designed to be that kind of a game.
The reason I say in comparison, like I think God of War is more of a cartoon. It is violence, but it's more of a cartoon violence to me because you don't see like organs. You see like blood and you see somebody stabbing, but it's not detailed to the point to make you Kratos is more so leaning towards the cool side of things. Like, yeah, he just killed a dragon, but you don't see the eyeballs and brains and all that stuff. So I get what you're saying. That is more glorified, but it's less. It's kind of less in a sense. And I know with The Last of Us, they're trying to be more realistic, and so you may see some brain splatter. You may see
which you do. Which you do.
Yeah.
I will say that it is definitely gratuitous in a way that Game of Thrones was gratuitous. In a way that The Walking Dead is gratuitous. And I hate to say it because I work in this industry, but in the way that some of the stories you hear about in the news are gratuitous. Mm-hmm. Like it is a realistic depiction of how violent people can get if they get pushed to a certain point, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
And
I also
go ahead, Jeff.
I was gonna say I also think my opinion is a little biased because again I'm also looking at this from like a video game development like standpoint because like I'm not an expert I wouldn't consider myself an expert in anything when it comes to like animation or designing video game stuff, but I have like tried some of that. And to see the level of detail again with like
it's nuts.
Breaking off, like how many animations do you have to do to literally just get all those different parts? Like the body, like that animation model. Like I'm just imagining like what that would look like. It has to be so many meshes on that model to get it to look that good. So it's like, to me, it's like, no, this is perfect. Like this, this is great.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing is like, for example, on stealth kills in this game, depending on who you're playing as, because you do play as different people. But for example, you're killing one of the infected. You get them, you grab them, you stab them, and you basically kind of you slit a zombie's throat to get them to die. And the way that you see it happen is pretty rough. Like you see the blood, you hear the gurgles from it. But the fact that it's something where like it does continue on after you're done fighting the body, like you can still hear some of the sounds, that is a little bit, it's more realistic than it is like gratuitous, if that makes sense. Like I understand that people will play video games to separate themselves from reality. This game does not really separate you from reality. The storyline does, because actually, the storyline doesn't exactly separate you from reality because they're the aftermath of a massive pandemic that killed half the population. We're living in the pandemic. So that's a thing. But this is just you can't get away from the fact that it's more realistic than most video games might be. You can't deny that fact, but I wouldn't say that it goes. I wouldn't say that it goes any further than Game of Thrones has gone, or like Jeff has said, or than a Quentin Tarantino movie. At least where I am at so far.
You see, I shut up. Yeah, you got it, man. Hey, it's powerful stuff, man. Because it does bring up some conversations about video games as an art and how far video games have come as far as what they're showing, as far as what they're doing. And The Last of Us 2 definitely does push the envelope. Like, it is definitely an M for mature game. It reminds me more so of a movie, just
Yeah.
based on the stuff that you see than the game. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even think. Well, I know this happens, but I don't think you guys have seen it yet. But yeah, more so on the movie side is what I would say.
Yep.
So good. So overall, seems like you guys are enjoying the game. That's what's up. How are you liking the story so far, Jeff?
I like it. There are points where I just hit a scene, and I can't say it because CJ hasn't reached that part, and it messed me up. I'm not like, well, I've hit two scenes where one is like, wow, like I see really what they're trying to do with Ellie, and it's okay, yeah, and then two, something happened. I'm just like, I don't believe that this happened. Like I'm enjoying the story. I'm sorry. I wish I could be more specific, but CJ.
No,
Yeah,
that's completely fine.
we're
don't
gonna
want to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah,
that may
it's
be
only
listening.
only been out a week. So and as Shelby and I have discussed, and even as you probably admit yourself, Jeff, it's not like we are professional paid to play video game people, if that makes sense. We don't have we
would
have
be nice.
It would be amazing, but we have full-time jobs. We don't have the ability to sit down and binge play games the way we used to without sacrificing other things. So you need more than a week to play some of these games. Like, this game in and of itself is around, from what I understand, between 25 and 35 hours total.
Wait, that's it?
Rough. That's if you like 25 if you streamline through the story. I've heard it can last as long as 45 to 50.
Oh
if
shoot!
you,
Well, then I'm almost done.
No, I mean you might not be. You're like you said.
No. Jeff is close.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Jeff
Okay.
is in the home-ish
I
stretch.
figured that I was like in the third part, like if like the third part of the game, or
Yeah, you're in Act 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But
we'll
I just
see.
wasn't sure.
We'll see where I'm at then. I'm not.
You're in the
anywhere-
middle.
Yeah, I'm in the
I
middle.
think.
I'd say. But as far as the story goes, I haven't had any big "this was dumb" issues yet. I know that there are.
Oh, you will. You're gonna have one.
I know that there is apparently a moment in this game where even its most staunch defenders are like, I don't know, they could have gone a different direction.
I got a question because this happens pretty early on in the game, and maybe I just don't have enough context behind it. Is it true that you randomly run into old girl? And I know I'm being vague, but because I know this is in the beginning. So, spoiler alert for those who don't know, for whatever reason, Joel dies in this game. That is the driving force
yes.
of this game.
Yes.
When you run into old girls, is it true that that's just a random encounter?
Not exactly. So
Okay.
you play as her. They put you in control as her before you run into Joel. So
Wait. How? Okay. So.
Hold on, wait. Hold on, Jeff. Let him let him
sorry.
finish.
Uh,
Let's see what he's talking about.
So
Sorry, my bad.
and within the first few hours of the game, you have you do like the basic tutorial of how to do stuff with Ellie, and then they put you in the character of Abby, who is randomly just at this random outpost near the start of the game, and they mentioned that they're looking for somebody, and when the moment they said that they were looking for someone, I had a feeling they were looking for Joel.
Mm-hmm.
So they put you in her place, and I will say they don't give you any context as to who she is. They don't give you any context as to what's really going on with her and why she's so diehard on doing something. But at the same time, based off of what I knew from the first game and what happened to Joel, I can kind of put 2 and 2 together, but maybe I haven't yet. Maybe I'm
okay,
off.
So I've gotten to the point of why I know why she did what she did. Do you want to guess? I'm not going to tell you.
I'm going to guess she's related to the Fireflies.
Not a bad guess.
I'm going to guess that it has to do something with the Fireflies. Because for those that don't know, at the end of the first game, Ellie is immune, and Joel brings Ellie to this resistance group called the Fireflies, because the government has everybody in quarantine and is causing a bunch of terror for a bunch of people. So there are these different resistance groups popping up. The Fireflies say that they can develop a cure, but the only way they can do it is by killing Ellie. So the game doesn't let you pick. You just have to play, and you play Joel basically stopping this cure to save the world from happening, because you can't let Ellie die. And I'm going to guess that comes back to haunt him, because you do kill a bunch of people, and I'm sure that this game tries to hammer home the people that you kill have loved ones. So I'm going to assume that Abby is in some way, shape, or form related to at least one of the Fireflies that you killed in the first game.
That boy got on his Michigan hat tonight, Jeff. No. Okay, cool. Okay. All right.
I'm obviously, I'll find out by the time we record our next podcast. This game should be beaten. I doubt I will be. I'm making it my mission.
When's the next time you go record?
Next week. So
you gonna beat this in a week?
I should be able to. I think maybe we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see. I'm gonna do my best at least get to the point that people are angry about, because I know that there's another point in this game that people get mad about. And
I'm actually not sure about what I had to look that up, because I need to see what that point is.
Okay.
Just keep playing, Jeff.
Okay.
Just keep playing. When you beat the game, and I think your perspective is going to be a little different than CJ's, and a lot of people, because you just watched the first one, you didn't play it when it was like, big deal.
Yep.
And you're coming fresh with the perspective of The Last of Us Part 2. And like I said, I know the ending. I didn't play it. I am like, either way, I'm like, okay, it is what it is type deal. Like, I'm not emotionally connected to it. I understand where some people are coming from.
I was hurt by the fact that Joel died. I was hurt by that.
Yeah.
I was.
See, a lot of people aren't happy with the way that since we're talking about the beginning, they're not happy with the way that happened. Is the thing. They feel like, a lot of people feel like the encounter was random, because even though she was there, like, Joel just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and they end up together.
So,
see, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. The way that it happens is like, of course this is what happened. Like, because what happens is basically you get surrounded. This is the first time that you experience a horde in the game, because that's not something that they had in the first game. Like, if you fought a bunch of infected, they weren't running at you and just bombarding you to the point where you couldn't fight. You had to just run.
I think the scene is really cool.
That's a new thing of this game. And I remember,
no, in the town you had to run.
In the first one?
Yeah, I think that was the only one. I mean, it wasn't. You are right that, like, they do it more here, but I think that there was a scene when you went to the town and met the guy that Joe.
Yeah, but it still is a little bit different, because this is in the middle of a snowstorm where you're just like, everything this is awful. There's really nothing you can do to stop it, and I agree that it does kind of come out of left field if you look at it in a vacuum, but I have to just think about the fact that, like, the last game ended with you killing off a bunch of people's heroes and stopping what could have been, and with no explanation, because no one really knows.
That's CJ's theory, ladies and gentlemen. No one really he's betting all his money on that one.
No one really knows that no one really knows that
Fireflies.
no one really knows that Ellie, like, he did it to stop a cure from happening. Some people could just think that he just killed a bunch of fireflies and they want revenge. So that's what I'm guessing. I'm probably dead wrong, but that's what I'm assuming.
Is that your perspective?
Yes, that is my perspective.
A fan's perspective? No. Cool. I mean, I would just, I was just asking because, like I said, some things I saw, some things I heard, and like I said, I wanted your guys' opinion. And Jeff, you said that's ironic, right? That's life. That you could randomly save somebody and they want your head. Like, it could happen. So I feel you there.
But I do also. So I wonder, like, all the people that said that, like, they didn't like that, did they not continue the game, or did they continue the game? Because I feel like if they don't continue the game, they just stop after there. So if I had played the first one, I probably would have stopped right as Joe died. Like, I probably wouldn't have played anymore.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be real with you. But because I didn't play the first one, and it was spoiled to me that he died, that actually kind of made me want to play the second one, because I'm like, okay, what the heck is Ellie about to do now in this?
Well,
And
what's-
having not, oh, go ahead.
What's interesting is that what you're talking about, there were a bunch of YouTube videos that came out when the spoilers leaked of a bunch of people saying don't play this game, for at least from what I understand, because I didn't watch them, but I believe it was for that was one of the main reasons they said don't play it. It was because Joel dies at the beginning of the game.
So if you just see that part, yes, I can understand why people like be upset. But if you continue playing and get more of the context, it's like, oh, yeah, it's just comes full circle.
Yeah,
Like-
so we'll see. I'll obviously give my perspective on things once I get closer to beating it. So we'll see. I'm gonna have to try to hunker down and see what I can do. But Shelby, I do want to ask you a couple of questions, because you actively you're the person here that is just kind of the observer. You are the person that has openly told me you're not going to play these games, which is fine.
I tried. I gave it an effort.
My question for you is, how do you look at this whole, as an outsider, how do you look at this whole controversy? Because you know what it's like to be really hyped up for a game and to be insanely disappointed by what you play. Anthem.
Anthem.
Oh. Oh
Why are we both saying the same time?
boy.
Because we knew it. We knew. We knew. We all were like, it's BioWare. They made Mass Effect. They made Dragon
Wait, hold on.
Age.
Don't
This should be
sue us
great.
for like saying that the game is trash. Are they?
No, because we're critics.
No, it is so from the outside looking in, to answer your question, it is definitely interesting to see that the creator of the game said he knew that this was going to divide fans. He knew that the direction they decided to go in was going to be controversial. Excuse me. And from the outside looking in, I understand why people are upset, and I get why a lot of people are enjoying the game, because it has been 7 years. There's been lots of improvements made to the game, and this does continue the story. And similar to Game of Thrones, everyone has an idea of how things are going to go when they return. You have an idea of like, oh man, this is going to be epic. This is going to be this is going to be that. And The Last of Us Part 2, they decided was going to tell a different story than The Last of Us Part 1. It is handled differently in terms of the emotional beats and where you're headed, So I look at it and I understand why fans could feel some type of way about that, because you've loved these characters for 7 years. They've been alive for 7 years, and they've been on their own adventures where they escaped from the Fireflies and went on to live life. And then you find out that one of your favorite characters is killed in the first part of the game. So I get that, and I get that you may not like the direction or the decisions that people are making, because it happens. You don't have creative control over the property, and they're going to go whatever direction they decide they want to go. So I understand both sides. Obviously, the game worked. It sold buku numbers. They made their money. I don't know if there's going to be a Last of Us Part 3. I'm sure there's going to be some DLC at some point. You know, you got to cash in on that.
Right.
But I mean, I get it. I get it as a new game. A lot of people can put their feelings to the side and be like, you know what, the environment, the AI, the gameplay, the characters, like I'm digging all of this. It's a lot of fun for me, and I also get how a lot of people are like, this story is not for me. Like this is, in a sense, too much. So I find it very interesting. I'm definitely going to keep up with it. Yeah, cause there could be a part 3.
We'll discuss the possibilities of a part 3 once we.
I just mean like continuing from this exact story. Like I'm sure they're going to do a part 3 with more characters.
Well, actually, I don't necessarily know if they will or won't, because the thing is, none of us expected we were going to get a part 2. Like a lot of the fans, the way that The Last of Us 1 ended, part 2 wasn't necessarily.
It was a nice contained package.
It was a single individual game, which sometimes you don't always get. Like, because like I remember with Infamous, when I played that, you kind of had a feeling that Infamous 2 was coming. They hinted at the Beast showing up at some point because you needed to beat the Beast in Infamous Part 1.
Right. There was a setup.
Yeah, there was a setup.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
In with the example of Naughty Dog, with their very first game, their very first PS2 game, Jak and Daxter, that didn't need a sequel, but they came out with Jak 2 and they completely switched up the entire storyline. So some of these games don't necessarily need sequels, and depending on where this ends, a sequel might not really be necessary or needed. But then again, money. And
it really depends on the cash grab,
and you have to kind of figure out things from there. But
that's also why I really still don't understand, and maybe this is just me being biased because of how I came into this series now. But like, if you look at the first one, it's like, okay, if they made a second one, what other story could they have done? Oh, Joel and Ellie are just happy forever. Like,
I don't really know the storyline.
You dropped like.
He said they're gonna be happy forever.
Like, I just really don't understand what else. So the Fireflies is like, never mind. Actually,
maybe you could do a war on Jackson or something like that. Like maybe you could focus on them defending their new home and go along those lines, or maybe.
And I feel like there would have been. I think there's just always going to be controversy over a game, because I swear if they would have did that, somebody would have been like, "Oh, well, that doesn't make sense. What happened to Joe?"
Yeah, that's true. No, that's true.
If it were me personally, like you said, Jeff, I would have. There's always going to be questions about what happened to the other characters. I think The Last of Us had such an expansive world to the point to where they could have maybe told a different story, and then later on in that story, or showed a different part of the world or a different part of, I don't want to say survivors, but maybe it could have been like a perspective from the military. I don't even know if they're still around in this game, but I see how people, they wanted to sell Ellie and Joel still, but I see how there could have been another story to be told based on this world alone. Or it could have been a story based on, they could have did like a Walking Dead thing to where it shows the beginning of the outbreak and like a group of people or somebody trying to survive while that's still going on.
Yeah, that could have worked.
But, it's good and bad in everything. And like I said, I get what you're saying, Jeff, because normally I have that exact stance. I'm like, what else? What I'm like that with Game of Thrones. Like, what else could they have done? It makes it, like I get both sides for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see that now. Yeah.
So, but for right now, again, neither Jeff's about to beat it. I'm apparently almost halfway there. So, we will be discussing a much more spoiler filled. We will have a much more story spoiler filled discussion on this game. Hopefully in our next episode, and if not, once it's done, once I beat it, we're definitely going to do it.
Yeah.
But
I don't think they should have gave Ellie the superpowers, but it worked out.
yeah, that was a wild thing. Like she can shoot lasers out her eyes. All she gotta do is get those cards that she collects all the time.
The mutation mutated that made her immune.
Yeah, and
so
she can actually become a scrambler.
She can speak to the clickers now.
Yeah, it's wild.
You not at that part yet?
Dang, Jeff! I haven't even been like you're further than me. I thought you would have experienced this. I guess you ain't played this yet.
I was like, are y'all talking about a whole different game?
I know this sounds wild, but that would actually be a kind of a cool mechanic if Ellie could like influence the clickers in some way. I know this is drifting off into another territory.
Yeah,
but
it'd be an entirely different game.
That would be kind of cool.
Actually, what I will say about this game, I could see Naughty Dog. I can almost see Naughty Dog's next game in what they've done here, because they have these little trading cards that you can collect, that you like go through and you find, where they talk about all these different superheroes and villains and stuff like that. And the storylines they come up with are actually pretty interesting. Knowing Naughty Dog, I wouldn't be surprised if someone's like, put that on the back burner. Let's wait and see.
I would like to see them tackle something a little different other than third person shooter with
really cinematic storytelling.
Cinematic storytelling, yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
I mean, but they made Crash, they made Jak and Daxter, so they can show they can make other stuff.
Yeah, but the money making bag is what we've been seeing, and so that's that third person shooter. But
I need them to make another Jak and Daxter with some other characters. That series was so great.
Yeah, it was. It was my opinion. It's the best, the second best. Now, God of War is still number one, but it's the second best PlayStation 2 series. Period. Like, I just think it was completed in the PS2 era.
I think Jak and Daxter is better than God of War. In my opinion.
I'm not mad at you for it. I'm not mad.
Are we talking about the first one, or
no? I'd say Jak.
Wait, you talking about as a series? Or
I'm talking about as a series. Yeah, as a series.
Nah. Actually, as a series, I would say God of War is better.
Yeah, because I'm including God of War 3 in it. Even though that was on the PS3.
Zeus, your time has come.
Daxter 3 kind of disappointed me.
Yeah, Jak 2 was amazing, and Jak 3's storyline just didn't live up to it.
Yep.
So, but that's
I guess that's another one of your podcasts.
Yeah, that's a discussion for another day. The PS2 era. That actually would be a pretty fire. That'd be a pretty fire podcast. I think we might have to. We're gonna have to have that conversation.
Well, we definitely gonna have to bring Jeff back on here to sit down and converse with us again. I think we're towards the end of things.
I think I think that's gonna do it. As always, guys. Go ahead. Real quick.
The reason I was asking is because I wanted to just mention one little thing before we go. Comic books shops have recently opened back up. Comic books are starting to hit the shelves again, so I recently was able to finally pick some stuff up and read. Finished reading Power Rangers number 50. I know we talked about, we talked about Power Rangers a couple months ago, right before the pandemic happened.
And everything shut down.
Everything changed when the pandemic attacked. But picked up a new series. I'm excited to check it out. It's called Far Sector, and it is a part of DC Comics' Young Animal line, which is pretty much it's geared towards adults. It says 17 plus. Not sure how that pertains to this book, but this book is a story about a black female Green Lantern, the very first black female Green Lantern. I'm not sure. I guess Jessica Cruz was Latino. And her journey as a Green Lantern on like the opposite side of the galaxy. So I look forward to reading that. It did come highly recommended from a few people. So if you're looking for something to read, feel free to pick up Far Sector.
All right, that's appreciated. Trying to think of anything else I could recommend, because all I've been doing is playing this game the past 2 weeks.
Jeff, thank you again for being here, brother.
No problem. This was fun. Y'all need to look into getting some sponsorship if y'all gonna be advocating brand ambassadors for some of these.
We would like to. Trust us. We really want to.
It's a work in progress.
But to help us achieve that goal, though, if you guys could please share this podcast with your friends and family, tell people about us, like us on Facebook at A Fan's Perspective, follow us on Instagram at AFPod. We will get updates about episodes, and hopefully we'll figure out the social media game eventually and get more up there than just telling you what new episodes have dropped. But for now, that's going to do it. I am CJ.
I'm Shelby.
And we're joined once again. Jeff, thank you for joining us today.
Appreciate you.
And this is A Fan's Perspective, signing out.
We'll see you next time.